Edwards is really making a name for himself as the top shooting guard in the league at just 23 years old. People are even starting to compare him to the legendary Michael Jordan. Similarities in their playing styles are hard to ignore. It's tough to live up to the MJ comparison, but if you look closely, they share a lot in common. Both play the shooting guard position, have amazing ball handling skills, and can soar above the rim. They're both two-way players and were known for being some of the best shot-blocking guards of their time. Plus, they have similar builds, confidence, and attitude, especially when the playoffs roll around. Now, Edwards might not have the same stats or awards as Jordan yet, but last season he was only 22. And remember, MJ was also 22 during his rookie season. At this stage in his career, it's clear that Edwards has a lot in common with Michael, both in style and confidence. He's got the potential to become the face of the league in the next few years, and right now, he seems to fit the bill as the next Michael Jordan. But to truly earn that title, it takes more than just talent. You need that special something: charisma, personality, and the ability to draw attention. A big reason folks are calling Ant-Man the next Jordan is all about looks. Seriously, these two guys look so much alike that it's almost uncanny. If you were to split their profile pics in half and mash them together, you'd think it was the same person. It's easy to see why people say he looks like Michael Jordan, but if you think that's all there is to it, you're missing a lot. The second reason folks are dubbing him the next Jordan is their similar playing styles. Watching Edwards play feels like you're seeing MJ in high definition. They move the same way, attack with the same assertiveness, and both have that killer instinct. Every part of their game is strikingly alike. Plus, Edwards even recently started doing that iconic shrug. If we take a trip back to the 1985-86 NBA season, Michael Jordan was just 22 years old. He actually turned 22 in February of that year, so for most of the season, he was still 21. On the other hand, Anthony Edwards, whose birthday is in August, has been 22 for the entire last season. So there's about a 6-month age difference between them, which isn't huge, but it does matter when you're being detailed. Now, during that 1985-86 season, Jordan faced an ankle injury that limited him to just 18 games. If you've seen those classic Michael Jordan videos from back in the day, you might remember how they covered his injury. In his rookie season, he played all 82 games, averaging 38.3 minutes and scoring 28.2 points per game. But in that injury-plagued season, he only managed to play 18 games, averaging 22.7 points. It's tough to compare the two seasons since he didn't get to showcase his full potential that year. If you look at the next year, he was 23, but for most of that year, he was actually 22. After recovering from his ankle injury, he played all 82 games, averaging 40 minutes on the court and scoring an outstanding 37.1 points per game. That's right, after nearly missing an entire season, he came back and played every game, putting up 37.1 points along with 5.2 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and almost 3 steals per game. That's a huge deal. Just think about it. This was only his third season in the league, but it's really more like his second since he was out the whole previous year. Now let's switch gears and check out Anthony Edwards' stats from the 2023-2024 season. He was 22 years old and played 79 games, missing just a few due to what might have been a sprained ankle. He averaged 25.9 points per game, which is solid and shows he's making a name for himself in the league. It's important to recognize that comparing him to legends like Michael Jordan isn't straightforward. For instance, MJ had a field goal percentage of 48.2% in his early years, while Edwards sat at 46.1%. Let's talk about that three-point percentage for a second. Back then, barely anyone was shooting threes because the line was pretty new. A better way to compare players is through free throw percentages. Michael Jordan was at 85.7%, while Anthony Edwards was around 83.6%. Jordan was just operating on a whole different level, both in skill and pace. It seems like the younger crowd feels the need to knock the previous generations to boost their own, but that's not necessary. When MJ came up, he faced his own set of critiques, but that didn't mean people had to diminish the greats before him. Remember, stats are just part of the picture. We've hit a point where even Michael Jordan has jumped in to share his take on things. He mentioned that there are some similarities between their games. First off, they kinda look alike. Secondly, their playing styles are super similar. And third, both of them had that courageous swagger. Remember that time Jordan walked into the rival team's locker room and said, "Lace 'em up, it's gonna be a long night"? That's a power move you don't see from just any NBA star, not even the usual superstars. It takes some serious guts and confidence to pull that off, traits that not every player has. While Anthony Edwards hasn't exactly done that, he did show some boldness when he trash-talked Kevin Durant, which is pretty audacious if you think about it. If you follow the NBA, you know that Durant is usually the last guy you want to mess with, since he's known for shutting down anyone who dares to challenge him verbally. It's not just Edwards' unstoppable performance that makes people compare him to Jordan. It's also his fierce determination to not just win, but to completely dominate and seize the moment. The fourth reason folks are calling Ant-Man the next Jordan is their incredible rise in the NBA. When Jordan first hit the league, he became an instant sensation. His unique style, athleticism, and overall presence set him apart. Then, during the playoffs, he solidified his legendary status by dropping 63 points against none other than Larry Bird's 1986 Celtics, widely regarded as the best Celtics team ever. On the flip side, Edwards swept Kevin Durant and the talented Phoenix Suns in the first round of the playoffs. After that, we saw Anthony Edwards take control against Nikola Jokic and his Denver championship team. Sure, we've seen players dominate Kevin Durant before, especially after the 2022 sweep and the 2023 blowout elimination game on his home turf. But taking on an overpowering Jokic is a whole different ballgame. The Joker isn't just any player. He's a three-time regular season MVP, not to mention the 2022-2023 Finals MVP. This guy made the 2023 playoffs look effortless, especially considering he was a second-round draft pick. The Serbian center is often seen as the most talented player to ever hit the NBA, and right now, he's considered the top player in the league. However, Anthony Edwards is showing him up like he's just another ordinary second-round draft pick. One of the key reasons is the respect they earn from their peers. It's one thing to be a powerhouse on the court, but being acknowledged as the top player by other stars is a whole different level. Take the 1992 Olympics, for instance. During a practice game, both Magic Johnson and Larry Bird admitted that the league had shifted to Michael Jordan. Fast forward to the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup, and you've got fellow All-Star Tyrese Halliburton praising Anthony Edwards. He said, "What he does on the court is insane. He's definitely one of the best at his position and the future of the league for sure." People are calling Edwards the next MJ for one more reason that ties into the timing of his rise in the NBA. When Michael Jordan was taking off, legends like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were nearing the end of their careers. The league needed a new superstar, and Jordan's dynamic play and charisma filled that gap perfectly. Now, as Anthony Edwards is finding his rhythm, we're seeing LeBron James and Steph Curry also moving past their prime. While there are great players like Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Giannis, the league seems to be leaning towards an American player to step up, and Edwards is the standout option. This guy is the whole package. With his dynamic style, confident attitude, and natural charisma, he's the only one who seems fit to take the league by storm. Still, we can't overlook that Anthony Edwards has a lot of growing to do if he wants to be legendary like Michael. He needs to take every part of the game more seriously, especially after that laid-back performance at All-Star Weekend where he decided to shoot with his left hand. And let's be real, winning championships is key to being in that Jordan discussion. I know some of you might feel a bit skeptical about comparing Edwards to the GOAT, and honestly, that's understandable. Nobody's saying he's on Jordan's level just yet, but at 23 years old, he's definitely showing more MJ-like qualities than any other player in the league right now. Just look at that play against Utah, where he got the ball back and dunked it. He's really bringing the excitement that we could be on the verge of witnessing another NBA legend. If there's anyone who resembles Michael Jordan, it's definitely this guy. I bet the NBA and the media would be thrilled to see the Minnesota Timberwolves snag a championship in the next few seasons. It would kick off a fresh debate about the old guard versus the new. Remember, MJ didn't grab his first ring until he was 28, while Edwards has a chance to get his at just 23. The groundwork is already laid for the media. They just need a few things to fall into place to get things moving. So what do you all think? Is Anthony Edwards the next big star of the league? Is he a new Jordan?